You've probably seen the viral Oh My Disney post that was posted to Facebook revealing all the Easter eggs and cameos from film to film. The most recent one being Riley featuring at the Marine Life Institute at Morro Bay, California. But, why was she there? Hello there! How you doing? Now, I'm not someone who prides themselves with a vast knowledge of American geography. Like, trust me, I don't. In a previous video, I made a mistake and said that the Tri-County area was just one specific place in America. And despite the fact Morro Bay and San Francisco are both in California, I do believe they are still pretty far apart. According to Google, it's like a 4-hour drive, and for those of us in England, that's like traveling the entire length of the country. But in the grand scale of America, that doesn't seem that far. And I think it's very plausible that Riley's on a school trip to the Marine Life Institute. Sounds reasonable, maybe she's on like a biology field trip or something. Since loads of people from her class from that infamous first day, you know, the one where she started crying and created a 6th core memory, they're also shown to be at the Marine Life Institute on the day Finding Dory took place. So let's just go through all the people I found and recognised from this film. Like literally, just looking at the photo Riley's in, you can see 4 of her classmates. There's the guy who sat behind her in class. There's the girl with the skull shirt, you know, the one everyone associated with Sid. There's the boy with long hair who sits in the far corner of the class. And finally, there's the popular girl who has blue-dyed hair and wears eyeshadow. I understand her skin tone looks darker in this image, but you've got to keep in mind we're looking at her through an aquarium, so everything's just going to be a bit bluer and darker. You can also spot the boy that sat with the popular girls here. You can spot this popular girl and this guy here and here. And finally, you can spot the long-haired short guy with the guy who sits next to him here. Like seriously, almost the entire class is there! Okay, so Riley was on a school trip to the Marine Life Institute at some point during the time when Finding Dory took place. We don't really know what the trip was for, so again, I guess we'll just have to guess it's some sort of like biology field trip or something, but like, it doesn't really matter. And since Riley doesn't look that much older than she did in Inside Out, I'm gonna guess it happened in between the whole running away from home fiasco and the end scene where she's 12 and they're going through all her new core memories and islands of personality. And honestly, a couple hours ago, that was it for this theory. I genuinely just concluded Riley was on a school trip to the Marine Life Institute, and this theory wasn't even revolutionary enough to post. I spent quite a while trying to find out who this girl was. I thought maybe she was the girl sitting in front of Riley on the first day of school, but the eye colour was different, so I just brushed it off. I said, oh, maybe she's in another class, or maybe she's just not with the school. Like, the school just didn't rent the place out for the day. Like, there were parents with pushchairs there. Specifically, the first ever lesbian couple to be shown in an animated Disney film, which I really don't feel like got enough attention. Hashtag love wins. But then, the other day when I was watching Toy Story 3, I found her! She's none other than this girl right here. Yeah, like, obviously she's older now, but I think they're the same person. So then I embarked on a new mission to see if I could find any of the kids from the Caterpillar room at the Marine Life Institute. And you'll never guess what I found. Loads of these kids from the Caterpillar room grow up to be kids in Riley's class. So firstly, we have this girl, who I believe grows up to be this popular girl here. And no, this isn't racial stereotyping. Despite the fact the skin colour is a contributing factor, I think the feature that gives it away is her eye colour. The popular girl has prominent brown hazel eyes, a feature shared with this young girl. They also have very similar face shape, nose shape, ear shape and mouth shape, and despite having different haircuts, a haircut is something that can and will change over time. We also have this boy playing with the robot next to the girl playing with Lotso. We really don't get a good shot of him, this is as close as we get, but I think he grew up to be this boy. Considering the angle we get given of him, we can't see that much of him, except for the fact he has a very chubby face, which is very similar to his counterpart. His nose is also quite close to his mouth, and the hair colour is very similar. Realistically, this boy has such a baby face, I feel like if they had the same hairstyle, they literally would look exactly the same. Finally, we have the boy sitting with the popular girls again, who matches up perfectly with this boy here. He's another person we don't really get a good shot of, but again, the only real specific difference is hairstyle. They have the same skin tone, same hair colour, same eye colour, same ear shape, like they literally look exactly the same. Wait, so does that mean that some of these preschool children from Sunnyside Daycare go to Riley's school? No. And since Bonnie goes to Sunnyside Daycare, does that mean there's a possibility she goes to Riley's school? No. But not just Bonnie, because you'll never guess who else is sitting in the Caterpillar room. We didn't have to guess because you put it in the title, idiot. None other than Pixar's centre of attention, Boo. Like, look at her. She's a little bit older, but they look exactly the same. So does this mean that Boo Boo potentially goes to Riley's school? No. And if you're still going along with this, that means that Bonnie and Boo are actually in the same year as Riley at school. Like, I'm literally right now. And for those of you who think this theory is just grasping at straws, let's keep in mind that humans are the hardest thing for animators to animate. And animators often base human characters off other human characters they've animated in the past. Hence why there are so many Inside Out cameos in Finding Dory, because they didn't want to animate new characters. It just makes things easier for them. So I think it's very likely that the animators base these characters in Riley's classroom on the kids from the Caterpillar room just 7 or 8 years older. And Toy Story 3, according to the Pixar theory, took place in 2007, despite the fact the film came out in 2010. Because, you know, otherwise Andy's age doesn't really fit. And Inside Out came out in 2015, and presumably took place at around the same time because Riley is shown to be using a laptop with, like, FaceTime, and also has a smartphone. Which is 8 years later. And what convenience that the kids in the classroom in Inside Out are 8 years older than the kids in the Caterpillar room in Toy Story 3. And despite knowing Riley lives in San Francisco because it's an important plot point in Inside Out, we don't really know where Toy Story takes place. But I think it's highly plausible that Toy Story did take place in San Francisco. Especially considering all this evidence that the kids from this preschool grew up and went to this middle school in San Francisco. Which would mean potentially Boo, Bonnie and Riley have all crossed paths. But do Boo and Bonnie go to the same school as Riley? Possibly. But obviously not everyone from Sunnyside Daycare is going to be at the same middle school. I think that's what you call it in America. I got told off in my last video for calling it secondary school. Sorry, that's what we call it here. So maybe they all go to the same middle school. Maybe they don't. But one thing we can say for certain is that they live near each other and probably have mutual friends. Like, I can imagine Boo has like 56 mutual friends with Riley on Facebook. The real question is, would she accept a friend request from her? I also have an older video on my channel that got a lot of attention when I first started to make theories. It got like 600,000 views. And I discussed the fact that Riley's mother had a credit card that had the name Kay Ann Anderson on it. Which isn't her own name, and I believe it to be Bonnie's mum's name, which is why I believe that she stole Bonnie's mum's credit card, which is why it made an interesting video concept. And when I look back at that video, I'm a bit disappointed with it, to be honest. It got a lot of dislikes because I didn't use the evidence to my advantage, made some errors, and glossed over some basic points. In my defense, it was one of my first theories, so I'm just gonna go back to that now and clear some things up about that video. Because all the evidence I've shown today gives proof that Riley and Bonnie may have come into contact with each other. Like, Riley's mum could have literally stolen the credit card at a parents' evening or something. But that's not definitive. You guys can brainstorm ways that could have been stolen and leave them down in the comment section below if you want. I'm just saying that this video is evidence that Riley and Bonnie might go to the same school, so therefore there is a large possibility Riley's mum and Bonnie's mum may have crossed paths. Maybe we'll find out more when Toy Story 4 comes out, and maybe we'll find out what school Bonnie goes to, and that will give us evidence for this theory and that theory, which you can watch here. Just try not to be too critical of it. It was one of my first theories. Or if you want to watch another video about Boo and who her parents are, you could click here. Or if you've watched both and just want to keep updated, you can click subscribe here and check out my other social medias here. Especially my Snapchat, because I'm trying to post more stories, and when I do post stories, everyone loves them, so you'll love it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and I'll see you guys next time.